It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker, but really our speaker needs no introduction. He is an accomplished educator, and he served 6 years in the United States Army Reserves. Appointed Chancellor of the Alabama Community College System in 2017, he has focused on improving our colleges. He believes in student success, and he is laser focused on colleges creating a student experience which nurtures learning and builds solid futures for successful careers and families. He is married to Joy, and they are the parents of 2 daughters and proud grandparents to 4 grandchildren. We thank you, Chancellor Baker, for your leadership. Please help me welcome Chancellor Jimmy Baker.
I'll tell you, this morning, this is kind of a hard act to follow for the morning. Vicky's crew from Wallace, Hansville. You know, the enthusiasm that they showed is the kind of enthusiasm that I want us all to have. We may not can jump around and sing like they can, but we certainly can be enthusiastic about the opportunities that we have to affect in a positive way the lives of our students, their parents, and the quality of the life in the communities that we serve. I count it a distinct blessing that I'm most thankful for, to have the opportunity to do what I'm doing today, and the opportunity to kind of end a career at some point. And I've been involved in a lot of different things over the years, but I've never had the opportunity to work directly with as many great people as we have in our system. People who are totally dedicated to the mission at hand. You know, some months back, I was reading a book, and in the book they were talking about, are we interested in writing a resume, or rather developing a eulogy? Now, I thought about that a lot, and I want you to think about it with me. And it reminded me of a story. True story. Individual, actually from this state, who had been very successful financially in the world of politics in the state. And unfortunately, he passed away. And at the service, I didn't attend, but a good friend of mine was there. There were several people who came and eulogized the man and talked about what a great community supporter he was and all the things that he had done for the church and a variety of other good things. And at the end of all of those, the pastor of the church got up and said, you know, I'm sure so-and-so was a great man. And he did a lot of good things in this community. But I've been here 21 years as pastor, and I never had a chance to meet him. That's kind of a hollow eulogy. A resume is something that, unfortunately or fortunately, and I've never figured out which, in the world of education, it is an important item. It's important to tell everything you've ever done that had anything to do with education in one way or the other. So oftentimes in developing that resume, does it really reflect what kind of impact you literally had in the environment that you were responsible for carrying forth the job? That's always been a concern. And different people approach that in different ways. You know, our students can see a fake pretty quick. Our students know whether you're energized about the opportunity or whether this is just a repeat of what you did last year and the year before and the year before and on in. I look at what we're doing in the state of Alabama as a whole, and I have grave concerns when I see test scores come out and we invariably rank low, if not the bottom. There's a reason for that. I don't want to be a part of that reason, and I know that you do not want to be a part of that reason. We need to evaluate what we can do to help. But it's almost a proven fact in those school districts in the state, in those communities that continue to stay on the bottom, they probably are, not probably, but they are doing the same thing they did the year before and the year before and decades before. That makes no sense. I believe every child has an opportunity or should have an opportunity. They certainly have the ability in most cases to do better. Now, we have some great schools and great school systems in the state. But we do have a need to improve what's happening in the lower grades. While that may not be our daily thought, it certainly is something that has a serious impact on what we're doing every day. Because we want to open the doors for everyone so that everyone in the state, regardless of the circumstances which you find yourself in, can feel like they may enter our doors and benefit from doing so. And look, it's not all about what you scored on the English test or on the math test or whether you have a certification in the best skill. That's important. It's important to strive to be that person that wants to do the best and wants to do the most. And it's our job to be humble enough, be concerned enough, and be sincere enough in our relationships to be convincing to those students who need that spark of life, that spark of opportunity, that opportunity to see that, hey, someone really does care. You know, there's no better mission that you can have except as you work with the youth of this country. I don't want to miss that opportunity. I don't want you to miss that opportunity. And I take a lot of pride in what we are doing in this state. You've heard me say this, and I'll repeat it again every time I see you. We have the best opportunity to change this state. But it matters how we approach it. It matters the attitude that we take. And it really, really matters the sincerity that we have as we go about the process of doing things. I was thinking earlier about sincerity. And I had an opportunity one evening to have dinner with a governor, not the governor now, but a governor in the past. Winston Grooms, those of you familiar with him, surely, an author. Great historian, better than a novel writer. Hall Thompson, the largest Caterpillar dealership in the country. And one other gentleman who I won't identify, but one of the wealthier people in this state. And I thought, hey, I'm in the presence of some real serious people. And serious about what they were doing? Yes. Enlightening about their attitudes and how they achieved what they were trying to do? Yes. And I thought really how important this was to listen to these guys talk about things. The next morning, my office phone rang, and I answered it. And it was the gentleman that I didn't identify by name. That morning, he wanted to talk to me about something he wanted the governor to do, and it would benefit him to the tune of about $2 million. I was disappointed. The sincerity that I had heard the previous evening wasn't real. It didn't take long for that to show up. The sincerity that you go about your daily jobs will show. I know this makes no sense. Doesn't make any sense to me. Unfortunately, since I've been doing what I am right now, I have encountered situations where someone had served as a president of a school for a significant number of years, could not find a single high school principal in the service area that even knew the president. How sincere is that? Well, I mean, just from a financial standpoint, where do you think your students are coming from? I know there's no one in here that fits in that category. That person isn't here, I'll assure you. But as we go about our business, we need to get serious about the student experience. That's why we have organized in my office as we have. The student experience is what it's all about. Teaching and learning is important. Well, that's why we have that focus. I have read some of the most encouraging comments and statements coming from teachers, instructors, deans who have gone through ILA and are now backing off and reflecting at what they have been doing and wondering, why do we do it this way? That's a purposeful need, purposeful goal, to be intentional how you go about providing the instructional programs. I remember sitting in an American history class at Troy University. Everyone had told me this instructor was a great guy, so you need to pick him, and I did. And I'm sure that the students in that class for the previous 30 years heard the same thing I heard off the same legal pad and probably presented in the same way. Now, he knew what was on that legal pad, and I guess he thought it was important that we know that. But it didn't ring true to me as someone who was dead serious about helping me have an understanding of this world and what it's all about. So I'd like to refocus on teaching and learning. That is important. That is a valuable mission that we cannot succeed without that. That enhances the student experience. But in addition to that, we need to take serious the evaluation of the subject matter and how we are proposing it and how we are planning for that subject matter to be presented. Now, I know all of you took a lot more education courses than I probably did. When I first served as a superintendent of education, I'd never had a course in education before. And I think my good lucky stars, I didn't sit through some of those boring classes. Now, I went back and I got all of that stuff, and the foundations and so forth and so on. I'm not diminishing, or demeaning rather, the importance of formal education. But unless you tie it to student success and performance, and how you support an organization and plan and manage an organization to follow through with the instructional programs, then I don't know that it has an awful lot of value. I want you to know I am proud of every one of our colleges. I'm proud of all of you. I brag about it all the time. And I want you to think seriously about something for me and you. I've met with our presidents. I spoke initially with a smaller group. Then I met with all the presidents. Honestly, I've never done this before. But this coming legislative session can be a major difference maker in what happens in education in this state. Part of the reason I keep encouraging our schools to get more involved in the community through Clean Home Alabama and through other activities assisting with the census, and we're going to be talking about reading and other things to get you involved in the community. But the state of Alabama, for whatever reasons, has been very fortunate over the last 3 years. This year we have the largest total dollar budget in education that's ever been signed by a governor in the state of Alabama. We did okay in that process, but we're not where we need to be. If you will just simply take it on your heart to assist your presidents in the mission of getting your legislative delegation to fully comprehend the importance of the community college system, so that when they come to Montgomery, they know that there are people back home watching, waiting, and eager to hear what they are going to do. Now, we're pushing a lot to you, and I understand that. We're asking a lot of you. Over the next several months, we're looking at classification. We're looking at compensation. We're looking at credentialing, a whole lot of things. And I know it's just always something extra. But we're extra people. We're extra good at what we do. And we are the closest link to so many of the students and parents and kids in this state that needs help. But we offer it from that student who scores 35 on the ACCA test to that student who's dropped out. And we need to be sincere in that. We're facing a major, major labor shortage in this state. I'm working with the presidents on that issue. We're going to have to improve and increase what we're doing. But with your help, we can be successful in the legislative effort to provide more funds so that you can do a better job delivering the subject matter that is needed, delivering in the form that is needed. And we have the materials, the equipment, and a variety of other things that we need. I guess I'm going to call that a plea. I really believe that we're difference makers. I believe we all understand that it matters how committed we are to the process. And if we can join the forces of just this group of people in this room, it would be shocking to a lot of folks to see the opportunities that could be provided and will be provided. I'm confident it will work, but it will work only with the commitment to be totally focused on helping every student or potential student to be whatever they can be, because we are totally committed to helping them succeed. So that's my appeal to you. I have never been so fortunate in my life as I've been to watch what's happening across the state in your schools. It's almost more emotional than it is, it's hard to put it on paper. It's hard to reduce it to paper. But we can make this state what I have always believed we're capable and willing to do. But we're going to have to convince some other folks that we know what we're doing. We're going to have to convince them that we're totally committed to the mission. And we're going to have to convince them that we know best how to deliver. If we can put all of that together, and we can, with your help, and we move forward. It's easier to just go to school, do the same thing you did yesterday and the day before and 10 years before. That's not going to get the job done. It's going to take a social commitment, a civic commitment, an academic commitment, and a skills training commitment that moves this state to a level that we all can one day say, hey, we're from Alabama and we're not on the bottom. That's where I want to be. That's where we're going. And I just applaud you for everything you do. I appreciate it. And as we move forward, I want you to know we're behind you 100%. The Board of Trustees is totally committed, and that makes a lot of difference. So as we go forward, think about it. Be careful what you put on your eulogy. And don't get so caught up in having to have a resume that brags today but doesn't work tomorrow. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. Hope I didn't disturb your meal too badly, and enjoy your desserts. Thank you.